Well, hello, and I hope you are having a wonderful day. I am Pastor Rick Williams at Zion Lutheran Church, and we are reading the Gospel of Matthew during Lent. Every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday during the Lenten season, we're reading a chapter out of Matthew's Gospel. Yesterday we finished up chapter 7, which also finished up the teaching lessons of Jesus in chapters 5, 6, and 7 from the Sermon on the Mount. And we looked at all of the things going on there, and then we saw how Matthew closed off that section of his gospel with the statement, "And when Jesus finished these sayings, the crowds were astonished at his teachings." So that leads us into a new section of gospel, which begins with chapter 8, and now Jesus has gone from his teaching to some of his doing. So without further ado, we'll jump in here with Matthew chapter 8, beginning with verse 1. When he came down from the mountain, great crowds followed him. And behold, a leper came to him and knelt before him, saying, "Lord, if you will, you can make me clean." And Jesus stretched out his hand and touched him, saying, "I will. Be clean." And immediately his leprosy was cleansed. And Jesus said to him, "See that you say nothing to anyone, but go, show yourselves to the priests, and offer the gift that Moses commanded for a proof to them." When he entered Capernaum, a centurion came forward to him, appealing to him, "Lord, my servant is lying paralyzed at home, suffering terribly." And he said to him, "I will come and heal him." But the centurion replied, "Lord, I am not worthy to have you come under my roof, but only say the word, and my servant shall be healed. For I too am a man under authority, with soldiers under me. And I say to one, go, and he goes, and to another, come, and he comes. And to my servant, do this, and he does it." When Jesus heard this, he marveled, and said to those who followed him, "Truly, truly, I tell you, with no one in Israel have I found such faith. I tell you, many will come from east and west and recline at table with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob in the kingdom of heaven. While the sons of the kingdom will be thrown out into the outer darkness. In that place there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth." And to the centurion Jesus said, "Go, let it be done for you as you have believed." And the servant was healed at that very moment. And when Jesus entered Peter's house, he saw his mother-in-law lying sick with a fever. He touched her hand, and the fever left her, and she rose and began to serve him. That evening they brought to him many who were oppressed by demons, and he cast out the spirits with a word, and healed all who were sick. This was to fulfill what was spoken by the prophet Isaiah. "He took our illnesses and bore our diseases." Now when Jesus saw a crowd around him, he gave orders to go over to the other side. And a scribe came up and said to him, "Teacher, I will follow you wherever you go." And Jesus said to him, "Foxes have holes, birds of the air have nests, but the Son of Man has nowhere to lay his head." Another of the disciples said to him, "Lord, let me go first and bury my father." And Jesus said to him, "Follow me, and leave the dead to bury their own." And when he got into the boat, the disciples followed him. And behold, there arose a great storm on the sea, so that the boat was being swamped by the waves, but he was asleep. And they went and woke him, saying, "Save us, Lord, we are perishing." And he said to them, "Why are you afraid, O you of little faith?" Then he rose and rebuked the winds and the sea, and there was a great calm. And the men marveled, saying, "What sort of man is this, that even the winds and the sea obey him?" And when he came to the other side, to the country of the Gadarenes, Gadarenes, two demon-possessed men met him, coming out of the tombs, so fierce that no one could pass that way. And behold, they cried out, "What have you to do with us, O Son of God? Have you come here to torment us before the time?" Now a herd of many pigs was feeding at some distance from them. And the demons begged him, saying, "If you cast us out, send us away into the herd of pigs." And he said to them, "Go." And they came out and went into the pigs. And behold, the whole herd rushed down the steep bank and into the sea and drowned in the waters. The herdsmen fled, and going into the city, they told everyone, especially what had happened to the demon-possessed men. And behold, all the city came out to meet Jesus. And when they saw him, they begged him to leave their region. Well, in this section, we see all kinds of things. We see Jesus cleanse the leper, and then not only did he cleanse him, but then he told him to go present himself to the priests, as was required under the Mosaic law, and offer what Moses said to offer. But he also tells him, don't tell anybody. He didn't want him to share the information. Then he runs into the centurion, or the centurion runs into him, saying that his servant is paralyzed, not doing well, and he would like Jesus to heal his servant. And Jesus says, "Yeah, I'll go with you." And he said, No, I'm not worthy to have you in my house. He said, "I'm a person of authority. I know what it means to have authority." He recognized Jesus' authority and said, you don't need to come. And this is one of, I believe, only two places in the Bible where Jesus says, "I tell you, with no one in Israel I have found such faith." He found this amazing faith in this centurion, and this centurion is a Gentile. The other place we see this was with the woman who was asking for the scraps from the table. She too was a Gentile. Her daughter was ill, and she wanted Jesus to heal her daughter, and Jesus said, "No, he didn't come for the dogs." And she says, "Hey, but even the dogs get the scraps." And he talks about her faith being stronger than any that he had noticed as well. And both times that he mentions it of Gentiles. And that's what he's talking about here in the second part of that statement after he gets done talking with the centurion. He says, "Many will come from east and west and recline at table with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob in the kingdom of heaven." What he's saying is it's not just Jews that are going to be there. And then he goes on and says, "While the sons of the kingdom will be thrown into the outer darkness." That's the Jews. They're going to get thrown out. They're going to not make it into heaven. Why? Because they're not believing Jesus. Yeah. And in that place there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. So, once again, he goes along. He heals Peter's mother-in-law. We talked about that a few weeks ago. Once again, Peter's mother-in-law's name isn't mentioned. We can be pretty confident that both Matthew and I believe Mark was the one we read last time, knew what Peter's mother-in-law's name was, but they chose not to use it. And that is to help point out, we feel anyway, that Jesus helps even the nameless. And then he talks about the cost of following him. He has not. Foxes have holes, birds of the air have nests, but the Son of Man has nowhere to lay his head. And then, of course, we see Jesus calming the storm. If you've ever been in our narthex here, I love the painting we have. If you come in the door and you turn to your left, between the entrance door and the office, there's a wonderful painting of this scene. You can see Jesus sleeping in the back of the boat, and the disciples are terrified for their lives. And what does Jesus say when we face those storms in our lives? "Why are you afraid, O you of little faith?" We need to keep that faith. And then we see Jesus cast out the demons into the pigs, and the pigs go jumping off the hill into the ocean. They drown, and then all the city folks come out and they beg Jesus to leave. I'm guessing that was probably a pretty costly venture, and they didn't really understand what was going on. It's interesting in that story, in Matthew's version, there are two demon-possessed individuals. However, in I can't remember if it's Luke or Mark, there's only one. Now, so it could be that there are two separate occasions where this happened, or I'm not 100% sure. I'd have to do a little referencing. But I know in the one where there was the single man who had been chasing everybody and broken his chains and all that, and he had his demons sent into the pigs, that man wanted to go with Jesus, but Jesus insisted that he stay back and spread the good word. Be a missionary. Share the word of Jesus. So anyway, let's look at this. I wonder if it says here. Man with withered hands, servant, widow's son, healing the blind mute. No. Healing of the two men with demons. Yeah, Mark 5:121. And Luke 8:26. I'll have to go back and look at that. And maybe I'll report back to you on Monday what I find out on that. Because we are only doing Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, because we're doing worship on Wednesday and Sunday, of course. The next reading, chapter 9, will be Monday morning, so join me for that. And like I say, I'm gonna do a little research on the healing of the demons or healing from the demons and casting the demons into the pigs, and see if I can find out what's going on there. If nothing else, it's a question in my mind. So anyway, I hope you are having a wonderful weekend. I hope you're enjoying the weather. We are almost into March. That is indeed a good sign. So things should start warming up. Hopefully we won't have any more stretches of that super cold weather. I know, I think I mentioned it the other day. I was out and checking on the bees, and they were enjoying the warm weather. So at least one of my hives has made it through the winter, so far anyway. Still a couple months to go, but if they made it this far, as long as we can keep them fed and warm, they'll make it the rest of the way. Anyway, that's all I have for today. Thanks again for joining me. Be happy, be healthy, be kind, be faithful, be cheerful, be giving, be sharing. I look forward to seeing you all real soon. I truly believe that we're over the hump on this COVID thing. I've talked to more and more people who have already gotten at least one of their vaccines. I ran into a couple of people today who told me that they had gotten their second vaccines, and that they're hoping to start returning to church in the next few weeks once those things have done their job. So I hope to see you all real soon. As I said, take care. I hope you're having a great weekend. I hope to see you all real soon. Join us for worship tomorrow. Have a great day, and God bless.